Hi everybody, it's Marge back with the chakras, the chakra challenge, 7 days to amazing. So here we are with the sixth chakra. Sorry, the light is kind of interesting today. It's a little illuminated out there, and we're going to talk about illumination in just a second. But I'm really thrilled to be with you. This is the last Facebook Live video that I'll be posting in this series, so it's been a pleasure. But I'm excited to be back with you and to talk about the brow chakra. The brow chakra is right here, right between the eyebrows. It's also called the third eye, and there's another name for it called ajna, and that means to perceive, because this chakra is about seeing clearly. It's about being able to view the world and view your life and see your patterns and see the lessons that are there for you to learn. It is the center of the union between the heart and the mind. So this is about our mind and logic reasoning. But on the other side of the coin, it's also about our intuitive self. And it's important that those work together in a balanced way. And it's even important for that to drop down and combine with heart chakra energy. Because remember that heart chakra is about feeling deeply internally, our emotions internally. And so we need a balance between the brow chakra and the heart, so our mental reasoning, intuition, and our deep emotional experience, in order for us to truly make choices and create change. When we can do this, when we can have a balance with our mind and logic and our heart and our intuition, it actually leads us to wise devotion versus blind devotion. One of the things that can keep us from actually doing this is illusion. And illusion is thinking that my life looks this way, my relationships look this way, when in fact it may not be the truth. It may not actually be the truth. And what's under illusion is typically fear. So if you can get in touch, and we've talked about fear many times as we've talked about different chakras, because fear is usually underneath everything. And so fear can keep us in an illusion of not being able to see our true patterns, or not being able to see the beliefs or the attitudes that are working against us. And so vision is very important, not just our physical vision, which this chakra rules, as well as the brain, the eyes, the ears, the nose. It's this whole area, both in front and in the back. But also being able to visualize something different. And that can even lead us into our dreaming, because there's no other place where our symbolic sight is more important than here. We learn to see things in a certain way. And if we can go beyond our usual perception, remember this is ajna chakra, or about perceiving. If we can go beyond where we get stuck in our perceptions and open it up to seeing things differently, we have the opportunity to change what we want to change. I read a book years ago called The I Ching, and it was written by a couple of authors. I don't remember their names, I'm sorry. And they are Jungian psychologists. And in this book, they define common sense. Now remember, our senses are our sight, our hearing, our touch, so sensory system, right, taste. They define common sense as the use of all of our senses, and that includes our intuitive sense. Because without that, I want you to think about what the information your body gives you, and it isn't just your body, but we can receive intuitive guidance from, if that's in your belief system, and I hope it is, because it's a wonderful support system to be hooked up. And Erica's going to talk about crown chakra tomorrow. You'll learn more about that. But if we open ourselves to guidance from something greater than ourselves, that can come in through our intuitive sense. And when we are able to access our intuitive sense, we really can balance that with our logic and choose those things that are, if we're too mental, believe me, I've been too mental before. But if we're too mental, we can be so stuck in that we get spiraled down energetically, and it's very difficult to change from that place. So if we can balance that mental ability and logic with what other information am I pulling in from these senses, and from what is my gut sense? What does my intuition, what am I not seeing? What am I seeing? What can I see differently? All of those things will really support us. There's a couple of different questions I want you to ask yourself, and you can write these down if you want. Ask yourself, what attitudes do I have that disempower me? I love that question. What attitudes do I have that disempower me? And here's another one for you. What beliefs do I continue to accept that are not true for me? What beliefs do I continue to accept that are not true for me? Remember that beliefs can be adopted, integrated when we are in significant stress in our younger lives, and with pretty big stresses. And they kind of get us through that stress, but there comes a time when it no longer serves us. It's working against us it's keeping us stuck rather than allowing us to move forward. So identifying those attitudes and beliefs can be very beneficial, and we sometimes have to step out of our usual perceptions to be able to see that. So 2 new thought forms and patterns that will be beneficial for you are: I am open to my intuition. Everyone has intuition. You may not have exercised that particular sense. So it does take a process of being aware, being open to being aware of your intuition, listening to it, and then following it and see where it leads you. And it's not always accurate. Not 100%. However, the more you practice, the more you listen, the more you act on that intuition and explore that and balance it out with your reasoning and your logic, the better you'll become at listening to your intuition and knowing what's really there for you. A lot of people, when they have an intuitive sense, they have a physical response. So look for that. I know when I have a strong intuitive hit, I feel tingling in my body, or I might feel that strong gut sense. So I encourage you to do that. So today's tool for this chakra is sound. And I love sound because I love music and different instruments and different sounds. So sound is really powerful. And I want you to keep in mind, with all of these tools, we're introducing frequencies, right? We're introducing frequencies that can have a positive influence on our chakras. And in fact, you're probably all too young to remember this advertisement, but there was an advertisement on television about Ella Fitzgerald singing, and she'd hit high C, and as soon as she did, it showed a crystal wine glass shattering, right? And the implication was that the frequency of that high C of her voice shattered the wine glass. And in fact, that's not far from the truth at all, and I'm going to share with you a story that really demonstrates the power of frequency. This is something that has been taught in engineering schools, and there's literally a film that you can go watch on YouTube, and it's about the building and opening of the Tacoma Bridge in Washington. And they built this bridge back I think it was in the 30s, and to cross this beautiful, quite wide river. And so they had an opening, a grand opening of this bridge. And on the day of the grand opening, the wind started really picking up, and it would come across that river, and it got so strong that in the film you see cars starting to go across the bridge. Yay, it's open, and they start driving across the bridge, and then the bridge starts doing this and swaying back and forth, and pretty soon the bridge collapses. And what they figured out was that the frequency of the wind matched the frequency of the metal that they used to build that bridge, and it caused it to collapse, which is really incredible when you think about it. So when you're listening to sound, think about, we can hear sound through walls, right? Sound is very powerful. It's a very powerful healer in our bodies because it penetrates so deeply, and in our energy fields. The sound of each chakra has a different musical note that it resonates with. The musical notes for the brow chakra are A and B flat. So bringing sound in is wonderful, and realizing that our stress, we can have stress on sound. Think about whether real high pitches are stressful for you to listen to or very low pitches are stressful. Think about someone's voice. That just every time you hear that person's voice, it's like fingers on a chalkboard, if they even have chalkboards anymore. I'm kind of aging myself, but oh well. Anyway, so these sounds, there are sounds that stress us out. So when we pick sound to help balance the chakras, we want to make sure that it really does feel good to us. Music is wonderful, of course, but we want to choose music that is not too loud, that is not harsh, not negative for sure. Okay, so every culture has a different sound too. Think about the Native American drumming, right? And so if you think about different cultures, you'll realize, oh my gosh, there's a different instrument in that culture, and so there are certain sounds that are unique to cultures too. But drums are a wonderful way to create sound in your chakras. Crystal bowls, because each crystal bowl resonates to a particular musical note. Tibetan bowls, and even voice. I remember once in a class, we were muscle testing what this chakra energy needed, and it actually needed voice, and not just one voice, but several voices. So there were like 3 of us, and we were literally singing into this chakra, and it balanced the chakra. So music can be wonderful, but think about sounds from nature too. That's a very powerful thing, and I have a fun experience to share there. My son lives in Hawaii, so I go there quite frequently, and I resonate very strongly because of going over there for years and getting familiar with the ocean and snorkeling and all the sea creatures and swimming with dolphins and whales. And so I happened to be on a boat ride the last time I went, and had the fortunate incidents to be in the water with a humpback whale. And we couldn't see the whale. The water was murky, and we were swimming around looking for it. But what really amazed me is that we could all hear it. And we heard many, many songs of the whales, but we didn't just hear it when we were in the water. When you popped your head out of the water, you could literally hear it above the water, which I didn't expect that. It was such a nice surprise. So we swam and listened to the songs of this whale, and finally the whale swam off and breached. But what that taught me is how powerful sound is, because for 2 months after I came back, something shifted in me, and all of a sudden I was using my symbolic sight to seeing messages and signs of different things that were meaningful to me. My intuitive sense was just heightened beyond belief, and I really do attribute it to the sounds of that whale, because it was such a magical moment. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for being on the call again. So music is a powerful thing, and if you think about music therapy, which has gotten very popular in our culture now, music soothes people with Alzheimer's. Now, their mental reasoning has changed, right? But the energies are always there. Music therapy for people who are transitioning out of this life, so at death. And hearing, in fact, is the last sense that goes when we pass away, when we're in that transition. And so music is so soothing and hits us on so many levels that it is just a powerful healer, I believe. And so it's a wonderful tool to learn about. Tomorrow, Erica will be back with you, and for our final lesson, to share with information about yet another chakra and another tool. It's been really fun, a real growth for me doing Facebook Live and, trying to get that effective and all of that, and being with you and having you listen in. And I really appreciate your participation. And I so hope you have learned some valuable information and tools that you can use and you will use as you go forward from here. So thanks again, everyone, and watch for Erica tomorrow, and have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.